Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, and this is your AM update.
A driver who can't understand English will not drive a commercial vehicle in this country, period. Full stop.
A fatal traffic accident allegedly caused by an illegal immigrant with a license driving a commercial semi-truck taking center stage in the immigration debate.
What Attorney General Barr testified in there was that he didn't know anything about a client list.
Former Attorney General Bill Barr deposed by the House Oversight Committee, the first interview in its investigation into the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case, and troubling new details about the father of missing baby Emmanuel Harrow. Mr. Harrow's attorney speaks out for the first time. All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM update. You know the feeling. Someone in your family gets sick and then you're stuck waiting for a doctor's appointment or the pharmacy's out of stock and then you're left wondering why something so basic has to be so hard. Too many American families face this reality. And this is why many are turning to all-family pharmacy. They're doing what Big Pharma won't, which is putting families back in control and making it possible to be proactive, not reactive with your health. This is not just some online pharmacy. All Family Pharmacy is based in Florida and family-owned. And there you can order ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, antibiotics, daily maintenance meds, emergency kits, everything you'd want to have on hand before you need it. You know, you're going on like a trip. You want to get some of these things in your suitcase before the crisis hits. Order online and they will work with licensed doctors to provide the prescription for you. Then your medications get shipped right to your door. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Megyn. Use that code Megyn10 to get 10% off your order today. Again, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Megyn and do use that code Megyn10 when you check out to get 10% off your order today. Be prepared. Be in control. This is healthcare that works for you. The Department of Transportation announcing yesterday an investigation into a deadly crash in Florida. 3 people killed by an alleged illegal immigrant truck driver making an illegal U-turn in an 80,000-pound semi-truck, putting a spotlight on the Trump administration's crackdown on English language proficiency in the trucking industry. Preliminary investigation results finding the driver did not speak English. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration administering an English language proficiency assessment, which the alleged driver, 28-year-old Harjinder Singh, failed, correctly answering just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identifying 1 of 4 highway traffic signs. On August 12th, Florida State Highway Patrol responding to an accident just north of West Palm Beach. Investigators finding Singh, quote, recklessly and without regard for the safety of others, attempted to execute a U-turn utilizing an unauthorized location. Video from inside Singh's truck showing a minivan T-boning the trailer of his truck, becoming wedged underneath. Singh and his passenger, who were uninjured, appear utterly unfazed. Photos from the scene clearly show a no U-turn official use only sign on the short connection pass between the 2 lanes of the highway, the dangers of which should be obvious to any semi-driver. Authorities say the man was blocking all lanes of traffic. The 2 passengers in the van reportedly killed instantly. The driver later died at the hospital. The victims, a 37-year-old Pompano Beach woman, a 30-year-old Florida City man, and a 54-year-old Miami man. Fox News confirming Singh is an Indian national who in 2018 crossed illegally into California and was arrested by Border Patrol. Singh was initially processed for expedited removal, then in 2019 filed an asylum claim and was released into the country on bond. He has remained in immigration limbo ever since. Governor Ron DeSantis, who had no role in Singh's immigration status but in whose state this accident occurred, posting on X, quote, illegal alien issued commercial driver's license by California, doesn't even speak English. Sanctuary policies are deadly. California Governor Gavin Newsom's press office in an X post claiming the driver was given work authorization under Trump 1.0, which it said would allow him to later obtain that commercial driver's license. Department of Homeland Security official Tricia McLaughlin responding, however, that the Trump administration actually denied Singh work authorization in 2020, but the Biden administration then greenlit his work permit in 2021. Singh is currently being held in San Joaquin County Jail in California without bail. Governor DeSantis wants Singh to face justice in his state, telling Fox News the governor is working with federal officials to extradite Singh back to Florida, where he will be charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide. ICE also issuing a detainer for Singh, and DHS is seeking to place him in removal proceedings, pointing out in a statement that Singh showed no remorse upon realizing the carnage he caused. This accident, now the latest flashpoint in the Trump administration's drive to crack down on how commercial driver's licenses are issued. Driver's licenses are handled state by state, but when it comes to commercial drivers who cross state lines, the federal government sets the minimum standards. A 2016 memorandum issued under President Obama removed requirements to take drivers off the road for English language proficiency violations and eased the enforcement standards. This past April, President Trump signing an executive order reversing that memorandum. The executive order reading in part, quote, "Federal law requires that to operate a commercial vehicle, a driver must read and speak the English language sufficiently to converse with the general public, to understand highway traffic signs and signals in the English language. Yet this requirement has not been enforced in years, and America's roadways have become less safe." Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at a June press conference explaining how the feds will enforce this requirement.
We are issuing new guidance that ensures a driver who can't understand English will not drive a commercial vehicle in this country, period. Full stop. So we're changing the rule in regard to someone who is pulled over and can't speak the language. They'll be put out of service, where before they'd be given a slap on the wrist and allowed to continue on their way. So the consequence of taking one of these vehicles out of service and having the company come back and find another driver, it becomes very costly. This is done by our partners in law enforcement, whether it's at way stations or if it's just interactions that law enforcement have. But when they see those drivers who, again, can't communicate, they'll take them out of service. So, again, there's not one umbrella in which this will fall under. It's the whole spectrum of law enforcement on our roadways.
According to Secretary Duffy, in 2015, nearly 100,000 drivers had language proficiency violations, with 1,000 taken off the road. In 2024, under the loosened enforcement requirements, that number dropping to 10,000 violations, with none taken off the streets. In late July, the Daily Signal reporting within the first 30 days of the new guidance taking effect, more than 1,500 commercial drivers were placed out of service. The House Oversight Committee officially kicking off its investigation into the DOJ's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case. The committee issuing subpoenas for several former attorneys general and Justice Department officials as part of a wide-ranging probe into Epstein's prosecution and mysterious death in prison. Former Attorney General Bill Barr on Monday deposed by lawmakers for more than 4 hours behind closed doors. Mr. Barr served as Attorney General under President Trump from February 2019 to December 2020, recusing himself from the Epstein case, however, citing a conflict of interest, as one of the law firms that previously represented the disgraced financier was part of a firm Mr. Barr later worked for. Barr's father was headmaster at the prestigious Dalton School in New York City when Epstein taught there in the 1970s. Epstein died in custody in August 2019. Though Mr. Barr recused himself from the case, he later said he was, quote, appalled by Epstein's death, ordering the Inspector General to investigate the circumstances of Epstein's demise. Democrats on the committee speaking to reporters on Monday, criticizing Republicans' handling of the deposition, saying they've been left with more questions than answers. Here now, Democrat Congressman Suhas Subramanian of Virginia and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas.
I think the Democratic side is doing most of the heavy lifting. I don't think we're learning much from the questioning from the House Republicans.
It seems like they are going through the motions and they want people to believe that they are digging in. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we've learned anything through the Republican questioning that you couldn't find in one of the articles that most likely your outlets have printed.
Head of the committee, Congressman James Comer, sharply disagreeing with that assessment, pointing to several newsy answers from the former AG.
What Attorney General Barr testified in there was that he never had conversations with President Trump pertaining to a client list. He didn't know anything about a client list. He said that he had never seen anything that would implicate President Trump in any of this, and that he believed if there had been anything pertaining to President Trump with respect to the Epstein list, that he felt like the Biden administration would have probably leaked it out. And I think that's pretty much conventional wisdom among anyone that's practical in this. So I think it's a good deposition, and obviously we're asking a lot of tough questions.
A reporter asking former AG Bill Barr if he had a good conversation, Mr. Barr responding, quote, absolutely. The DOJ missing Tuesday's deadline to turn over all Epstein-related files to the Oversight Committee, Congressman Comer revealing the committee expects to begin receiving those documents by Friday.
You can imagine how many documents there are. They're compiling everything together. I think we're working together in a good faith effort, and everything's coming along.
Former U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, who headed the DOJ when Epstein first came under investigation in 2007, but who had stepped down before that case was finally closed in 2008, set to meet with lawmakers next week. Several other big names like Bill and Hillary Clinton could also be coming in the fall. Coming up, investigators continue the search for missing baby Emmanuel Harrow as disturbing new details about the baby's father emerge. As President Trump is settling into his new administration, one of the top Democrats in Congress aiming to undermine the Trump agenda is Democrat Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois. And according to our sponsor, the Electronic Payments Coalition, Senator Durbin has a new plan, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, Americans have thousands of choices in credit cards, but they say Senator Durbin's plan will result in less competition and less security, which means more risk for your credit and your identity. You can learn more for yourself at guardyourcard.com. And you could consider telling your senators to stop Dick Durbin's government takeover of your credit card before it's too late. The search for missing 7-month-old California baby Emmanuel Harrow continues as new details emerge about the father, Jake Harrow's 2023 child cruelty conviction. Harrow's lawyer speaking out for the first time. A listener warning this may be upsetting. The Orange County Register reporting on an affidavit tied to an investigation into a 10-week-old baby admitted to Hemet Valley Hospital on October 13, 2018, for treatment of broken bones. Jake Harrow's previous wife, Vanessa Harrow, telling authorities she had been out of the home on October 12th, and when she returned and tried to nurse the baby, she claimed the child would not drink, so she brought the baby to the hospital. Doctors at the Loma Linda University Medical Center reporting to authorities the baby had an acute fractured rib, healing fractures of 6 ribs, a skull fracture, and brain hemorrhage, along with swelling of the neck and a healing fractured leg bone. Again, the baby was 10 weeks old. Jake Harrow telling investigators that while Vanessa was out of the house, he found the baby had a fever. As he was bathing the baby, he claimed he accidentally dropped the child chest first on the divider of the sink basin, but could not detect any injuries. The man reportedly telling investigators later that night, Vanessa asked him to feel the baby's back, and he felt something crackle. The affidavit quoting the doctor saying, quote, "The combination of the above findings in a pre-mobile infant in the absence of a plausible history of significant trauma to explain the injuries is indicative of abuse, head trauma, child physical abuse, and nutritional neglect." Mr. Harrow telling authorities he found a search on his iPad for how to feed a baby with broken ribs, later blaming his wife, Vanessa, for those injuries. Jake Harrow filing for a domestic violence restraining order shortly after the baby was admitted to the hospital, a motion that was eventually dismissed. On October 5th, 2021, Jake and Vanessa Harrow were charged with willful child cruelty, both pleading guilty in June 2023. Jake Harrow was sentenced to 180 days in a work release program and given a suspended 4-year sentence, as well as ordered to attend a child abuser treatment program. Vanessa Harrow was sentenced to 120 days in the work release program and also ordered to attend the child abuser treatment program. Defense attorney Vincent Hughes, who represented Jake Harrow in the first child abuse charge and is representing him again, speaking out for the first time to Fox 11 Los Angeles on Tuesday.
He reached that deal through a plea agreement, so he did plead guilty. He acknowledged his role in that situation, and there was more than one person convicted. None of that has been relayed through the media whatsoever.
Because no one cares, sir, that the ex-wife was equally terrible. The question is whether Jake Harrow hurt baby Emmanuel, and his history as a baby beater is highly relevant. This is infuriating. Jake Harrow is set to appear again in court on September 2nd in relation to a probation violation for his earlier abuse case. The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department releasing a statement on Saturday in which they accuse Jake and Emmanuel's mother, Rebecca, of not cooperating with their investigation, a claim later publicly corroborated by Rebecca's own mother. Jake's attorney says that's not true, that the parents have turned over their phones, laptops, and passwords. KTLA reporting, however, that was in response to a search warrant. Jake's attorney says the sheriffs here are the ones who should be doing more.
It doesn't seem law enforcement is doing anything to find this child. He's holed up in his house with his family because they are not getting the support that they need. They have people trampling on their property. They have death threats being made. All of the reports I'm seeing on social media that Jake and his wife are running, have fled the country, have fled the jurisdiction, they're at their home. They're at their home, holed up, scared for their own safety, grieving for their son. I have personally spent time with Jake and have seen the emotions in his face. He is not in any way running, hiding, or doing anything to exhibit any behaviors of somebody that is trying to be deceptive in this case.
Many are skeptical. Online speculation is exploding about this couple. Never a Truer Word podcast host, Jack Fox, who regularly delves into forensic statement analysis, finding Rebecca's recounting of the abduction problematic. Here's Rebecca's version of events as told to ABC7 on Friday.
I got him out of the car seat and I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember. And I saw white. And a hearing sound, I fell on the floor. And I said, as I got up, I couldn't find my son.
Mr. Fox highlighting Rebecca's choice of words, saying the way she describes the event implies the baby was already missing.
She wants to persuade us of the urgency and immediacy of this. And then I couldn't find my son. Not my son was gone. Not my son was missing. My son wasn't where he was. Suggests to me wording of something that is already missing because she's gone from her son being there to not being able to find him. She's no realization there that her son was missing. It's I couldn't find my son, so he was already missing in these words.
Fox, along with many others tracking the story, also noting both parents describing their son in the past tense. More from the parents' Friday interview.
He was a happy boy. He smiled. Mackenzie loved to kiss him.
He was a healthy baby. He was crawling. He was kicking. He was playing with his toys.
Back to Jack Fox.
This is the mother of a 7-month-old baby boy. There is a big bond between them. Right now, she thinks that the child has been snatched, in her words, from her truck. As she's talking, she should be in present tense because the child is still with us. So she should be saying, he is a happy boy. He's a smiley boy. He is a smiley boy, or something like that. For her to go into past tense, which is what we use when people are no more. He was a happy boy. He smiled. That suggests to me that she knows that this boy is in the past, which is why she's referring to him in the past tense.
Despite some reporting that investigators are now targeting Jake and Rebecca, the Sheriff's Department telling AM Update on Tuesday, no one has been ruled out. KTLA reporting that investigators have seized the vehicle of Jake Harrow, though it is unclear whether that is a separate car from the truck Rebecca was driving when baby Emmanuel allegedly went missing. Anyone with information about Emmanuel's disappearance is asked to call 911 or the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department at 909-890-4904. And that'll do it for your AM Update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the Megyn Kelly Show, live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.